Well, what's going on?
Welcome back, Carter. Hello.
That sums it up. Hello, Emily. Well, would you mind telling us what's going on today?
Yes.
Thank you.
There we go.
We got the buffet for Daddy's retirement. Main room, Joe and Emily's here setting up. We got the BOOZE. This table is Joey's, and that's for everyone else over there. The parlor. Here we go.
Uncle Matt, remember last time on Christmas when you were doing that to me and I had to stand at the Christmas tree?
Mm-hmm. Huh? It's a video. I got you. It's a video.
Camera.
Any words of wisdom for the man?
Ooh.
Let's give a big shoo-shoo on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
It's hard to be a single mother when you're a male 12-year-old.
No, Glenn.
Hi. Welcome to Jody Freeman's surprise retirement party. It's not a surprise that he's retiring. I mean, that won't surprise him. But the people being here will surprise him. So we're very excited to have this party for him. Yay.
Here they come.
right here. Right here. Say hey, Chris.
Josh?
Good evening, good evening. The way we got Daddy here tonight is a little old-fashioned trick called lying. We lied and told him I'd be giving a speech on Methodism, which I'm not going to do. But I am going to give a speech, and just like a speech on Methodism, I might put you to sleep. But I'd like to welcome everyone. For those who don't know me, you're lucky. But outside of that, I'm also Jody's youngest son. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out and celebrating the career and retirement of my dad. And I hope it's been a good surprise. Folks that came as far away as Florida and New York to be here tonight. In the rush of planning this party, I'm just glad we remembered to get you here, so thank you, Mama, for taking care of that. I'd also like to thank Greensboro College for generously letting us use the facility tonight, and of course, to all the staff who set up, cooked, served, and genuinely made tonight possible, and the music. So thank y'all so much. Back in December, we were calculating how long Daddy had worked, and we came to the conclusion that he has had a job continuously for over 50 years. In collecting all those jobs you held, I'd hate to have to calculate how many signal crossings you repaired, logbook entries you made, receipts you balanced, miles you've driven in a company truck, diagrams you charted, and going way back, how many houses you have wired. I will say that's a good sign for you that there hasn't been a swath of house electrical fires across Winston. And in case any lawyers are listening, Jody Freeman has never wired anything at the Weaver Fertilizer plant in Winston. I hope. I'm not as lucky as Josh in that he had the opportunity to work with you, Daddy, and see what you did firsthand. My participation in your work life has been much more casual. Driving around town, as you pointed out, the house that you were wiring on Stanleyville Drive when Elvis died, all the homes you had a part of in Clayton Acres, driving through crossings and being told when which driver drove through which gate. I think my first introduction with the railroad was when you brought home a VHS tape when I was 6. It was a video made by the railroad, a video clip showing the danger of driving through crossings with the lights flashing. So it's safe to say you've always been ahead of your time because you gave me that warning and made me watch that video 10 years before I could start driving. So I thank you. Because of your time at the railroad, I became much more familiar with local geography. Lexington, Denton, Midway, Denton again, Thomasville, and Denton a third time. I also learned a lot about the English language, believe it or not, and this is true. I learned that the phrase, "Hello, Mr. Freeman, this is Jacksonville," was a dirty phrase never to be used in the household. And if you heard it used, the only proper response was, "Shh." I also learned about the culinary arts from you, and fine dining establishments like Carter Brothers Barbecue, or that Midway had the best Japanese restaurant. Who knew that glazed carrots were a Japanese delicacy? Or in a pinch, that Hardee's is just fine 4 times in 1 week. So you see, I've only had an outsider understanding of your work life. But what I have been witness to, and can attest to, is how hardworking you have been and continue to be. When you were sick, or tired, or even just over it, it never showed. You worked hard and you never complained. Even in retirement, you've worked so hard you've convinced me to never retire. Because I get retirements waking up early every morning and chopping wood. Before I open the floor up, I'd like to make a comment on an aspect of your work life that I have been a participant of. You have worked hard and well, which is one reason we are all here. But to stop there would be to stop short of the whole truth. People are gathered here too because you are a good man. Lots of men work hard, but that does not make them good. I have seen your work in the church. Thousands of hours of time and energy you graciously gave without wanting or needing praise. You have been to countless people's homes and did monumental repairs at no cost, simply because they needed. I think you did a home repair for every person in the church at one point. You cooked meals for the homeless and drove them to and from appointments. I have seen you at the church conference vocalize and vote in policy where you believe the church was not addressing to the full extent the need to do justice and to love our neighbor and to protect the weakest in our society. I then watched you and Mother live out that truth and put your money where your mouth was to support causes that you believed in. You and Mother both received the United Methodist Church's Lady Award for y'all's endless service towards these causes. And Daddy, you did it all with a smile and a bad joke in your pocket. So as I shut up, I want to thank you for your example, inside and outside of the office. Your example of what it means to be a good worker, but also what it means to be a good father and a good husband. So congratulations on your retirement, because it is very well deserved. If anyone would like to share any comments or memories or stories of my dad, the floor is open to you. And I can bring the mic to you even.
All right, I get to follow that up, so that's great. So I think when we close our eyes and picture a tough guy or a real man, you know, we think of all sorts of things. Some might think of a weightlifting, Avenger, superhero-looking guy like me. And some of you might think of a rich playboy traveling the world with a boat full of women, like Melvin from Winston-Salem Southbound. But I think of a man whose work boots stayed on until stayed on until 9 o'clock. And would always work. Even when he got home, work wasn't done, still work. Sorry. And then even after that, he could take those work boots off and put on his newest work shirt that didn't have the stain in the pocket yet, and come out to our games and come out to see us and always be part of everything. So. That's a man to me. That's he's earned his retirement, and I hope he can hang up those work boots and get some flip-flops on. We work hard to get a place in Florida ready for you, so we're very proud of you. Love you. Thank you.
Stand up. Get used to this. So I've known Jody since he was, how old were you when you came in? 23. Were you that old?
I do.
Yeah, I guess you were, weren't you? We worked together and traveled a lot, working for the company that we both worked for. And they were actually fun times, but we worked for a company that had all different types of skills. They had sheet metal people, pipe fitters. Me and him and about 4 or 5 other guys were the electrical department, I guess, at the time. And we designed this equipment, and Jody went on a lot more than I did, because I left a few years before he did. Yeah. But we used to go up to Richmond, and what was that thing called? Absorption system, right?
Salt recovery system.
Salt recovery system. That's what it is. See, the best thing about being retired and old, you don't have to remember anything. But anyway, it was a crowd of guys. When we go, it was a lot of people. Most of them were much older than us, and they would go out in the evenings and do whatever. Yeah, well, but this is a funny story. And Jody was not married then, so I don't even think he knew it. But anyway, this one older fellow, he went out and we'd play cards, and then they'd go out and hit the bars. That's what they did. We stayed in the motel because we were young guys and scared to death in the town, bigger town, I guess. But he called up one day and he said, "Let me speak to Jeff Butler. He's the oldest guy in there." He said, "Man, I've got a couple of females here. I need some, I need to drop one of them off." I said, No, I was married. Who's the next oldest guy? And the next lady was Jody Freeman. Jody wouldn't even talk to me. Smartest dude you probably ever made. But those were some crazy times back then. Those guys, I don't know how they could do it. They'd go out at 11 at night, get back in at 4 in the morning, and then go work 12 hours. We'd stay in the motel room and play cards. That's about the extent of it. But he's deadly with a 44, though, aren't you, Jody? I have a place in the mountains that we used to all go to. He bought a gun for my father. This Ruger 44. I mean, huge cannon. We went up there one weekend, and there was a mouse in the cabin that was stuck. It was inside a roll of tar paper. And I was going to take it outside and dump the mouse out, being the kind of person that goes, "Watch this." Now, there's no way he could have hit that mouse. But man, he hit that mouse. We had little bits of meat all over it. So don't never let him shoot at you. That's all I say. But he is a good person. So good that I'm glad he came to work on the railroad. I really am. And I hope he's glad he came to work on the railroad. Both of our fathers worked on the railroad. So, and plus, about 4 or 5 years after, 4 or 5 years after we started working together, I found out my wife and him were in the same first grade together. Along with a bunch of other folks. Next up, so. But he is a great person. The best personality and very humorous.
I'm not going to get through this. Matthew summarized it pretty well. What he didn't specifically mention was how he and Brenda took our mom in when she came down very sick, mentally ill with Alzheimer's. I was living in Hawaii with my family. My brother Lindy was living down in Florida. Jody and Brenda were the default responders. How he kept my mom and Brenda kept my mom in the house with them, along with Brenda's mom, who was sick as well. I don't know that I fully expressed my gratitude to them. For stepping into the breach and doing that service as gracefully as any humans could perform. So I want to publicly say thank you.
So I want to hear some more of those stories from the captain. Like Matt said, I was fortunate enough to get to work with Eddie for 18 and a half years. Hardest working man I've ever met in my life. And well, except for the last couple of years, a lot of desk work. While the rest of us were still out slaving, moving trains. But seriously, anything I've ever, any question ever had, hey, what's going on with the washing machine or dishwasher or, anything like that, and, just call, hey, what's going on with that? Just, usually about 15 minutes, there's a knock on the door. Anytime I've ever needed anything, I always been there. Yeah, like I said, hardest working man I've ever met in my life, and just you can always call me for anything except for that hot water heater in the crawl space. I'll never help you replace it. That will throw down with the house. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. It was a shock. I mean, floored. But when I came in the door, and I was still looking around to see who the surprise was for, and still hadn't got over it. But I've really been blessed throughout my life, and I've got so many people to thank. My family, for times that we were on the way out somewhere to a movie or to church or some event, and then get a call, got to go out on a service call, and had to turn around and come home. But I appreciate them being patient through all the years with those, and so many people I got to thank. Jeff for telling me about the job. I don't know whether to thank him or not. But co-workers, and well, before we go any farther, I've got to go by the teller machine and get some money to pay the ones that spoke and tell the lies. Oh, never mind. But yeah, I'd like to thank Jeff and Chad and Mike. We've all worked together for years, and Mr. Cates over there, which he only came from beer. And Mr. Lang and Mr. Hartness over there, as they covered my back. Anytime they saw a little problem, they would give a call and say, hey, we saw a little problem here, may want to look at it. Appreciate those moments. And family and friends is unbelievable. But I want to thank everyone for coming and making this day so special. And I hope for the ones that hadn't already experienced the retirement life, I hope all of us live and experience that, and long after. And I know David over has seen it. And special thanks to my wife and kids. Like I said, I've really been blessed, and hope to experience that retirement for a long, good while. But thank everyone once again for coming.
Would Would anyone else like to make remarks?
Well, compared to most of y'all, I hardly know Jody at all. We've only known each other about 7 or 8 years, so compared to going to first grade together, I'm a newcomer. It was mentioned before, and I wanted to elaborate on that. We went to church together. I was the pastor at Mount Pleasant when they had a food ministry going, and I was just astounded at the amount of things that just happened. In case you don't know it, you don't feed 75 people without planning. But there was always a spirit of, how can I help? What do we need to do? And Jody, Brenda, and Matthew in particular took charge of that. And there was a spirit of giving, there was a spirit of how can I help, combined with a, oh, it was nothing. No, you don't feed 60, 70, 80 people on a night by accident. It's days and days of planning, followed by working like a dog for about 12 hours. Oh, it's nothing. And you get to talking to Jody or Brenda later, and, oh yeah, well, we took the leftovers over to this area of Winston where the homeless people, you get the idea. I just wanted to attest to that spirit of brotherly love, that spirit of giving, that spirit that says, oh, no problem, we can refurbish the entire fellowship hall. I mean, like that's a 5-minute job. No, it was months of work. And Jody's response was, well, it's no big deal. We had a little time on our hands, and, we did this, and then we did this, and next thing you know, and most people I know would say, are you crazy? Do you realize how much work that is? How many months? But Jody's attitude was always, oh, it's no big deal. We can take care of it. And I just wanted to attest to that kind of spirit of giving and loving people that I think we should all emulate. In case you don't know, not everyone at church is like that. I hate to pop your bubble. If you've made it to 40 or 50 or 60, and I'm the first one to tell you that, we have a counseling session later if you need it. But there's a spirit of giving and how can I help, and I want to make a difference, and it's no big deal. Humility that was just a blessing to me, and I wanted to acknowledge that, Jody. Thank you, and Brenda and Matthew for all you did. That's not enough.
Any other remarks? Thank you, everyone, for sharing.
I think I had a chance to answer some of these cards on the table here. And I don't know if you've seen them yet, but you haven't seen them? Just a couple. Okay. So these questions, you have to guess which table answered. Put this answer here. So, some of this might be blackmail. It could have been good before you retired, but we can only get it now. So, all right, the first one is, what is the most embarrassing thing Jody has ever done? Take another drink. And, the answer was rode around butt naked on a dirt bike. Well, there's 2 people that have seen him run around butt naked on a dirt bike. Oh, okay. Well, they have one, so he's banned in 26. That was hot, all right, if Jody could spend the day with one famous person, who would it be? And the answer was Snoop Dogg. We watched the Super Bowl halftime show.
I didn't do that. Someone needs to tell me Snoop Dogg is.
doggone peanuts in it.
Next track, Snoop Dogg.
Jody was a grandson.
Yeah. All right. Jody could spend the day with 3 people, alive or dead. Who would it be? Zeke, Nolan, and Jace. 3 celebrities.
Probably comes from my table.
Yeah, I'm guessing. All right, Jody was on death row. What would be his last meal? Barbecue.
This thing.
Yeah, that's like the lady through. It said Lenny's barbecue. All right, Jody goes to the fridge. What does he get? And this one's a good one. Tired from the walk. Who was that?
Anonymous.
Oh, no one
That's
else.
a good one. They should have named it.
Yeah.
I named it.
All right. You still now? All right, Jody did an epic prank at work. What did he do? There's the camera. He convinced people he actually worked for 50 years. Yeah. No? Anonymous. Alright, Jody must eat at the same place every day for lunch. Where does he eat? China Palace. Who said China Palace? That was us again. That was us. That was y'all? Yeah.
I was at Wendy's. Oh, you said Wendy's? I said Naked Dirt Bike.
Is that a restaurant too?
Jody finds a genie in a bottle on the beach. She grants him one wish. What does he wish? A new pontoon boat. No?
Good one.
Right here. I don't care what they say.
Still got one, Jody.
Part 2 to that. Jody won $1 million. What would be the first thing he would buy? Answer: he would definitely buy a pond or any boat. All right, which table was that? Any of them. All right, tomorrow Jody wakes up as a woman. What woman is he? Miss Doubtfire.
Golly, that's not like that thing.
That one was me. All right, tomorrow when Jody wakes up, he's on the front page of the Winston-Salem Journal. What does the headline read? Taking the company truck for one last spin in the High Rock Lake. Might have thrown that one in too. Ooh, this one might be you might know who this one is. If Jody could buy any car, what car would he buy? An MG.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll do one more here. If Jody had teleporting abilities, where's the first place he would go? Back to the lake, laying on a float, drinking a beer. I think that's the whole room. You didn't win many, but yeah, I guess we all feel the same about you.
Hey, Joe.
We had Reverend Brewer wanted to say a word here as well.
Uh-oh.
Now you're in trouble.
I know it.
This is about the dirt bike.
This is about the dirt bike.
No, I met Jody many years ago standing out here on College Place about 10 o'clock at night waiting for a tow truck to come and get Paul's car. It's the first time we met. Who knew that after all that time you'd become a great and dear friend, someone I admire and love and cherish. Well, you already sent me the check, so that's fine. But I wanted to offer a blessing for you and for your retirement. So let us pray. May the God that breathed life into your lungs when you were born renew your spirit now, so that you'll have more days of joy on the range at Topgolf, more meals at Hardee's and other fine places, and a spirit that would have you ride around on a dirt bike with nothing on. May the God of holy rest bless your retirement with days of joy, years of peace, and infinite love. Amen.
Amen.
Big food coming out. I need to get some more detail on that one.
I wasn't planning on doing this, but this fine man right here asked me, sent me what his name was, and I couldn't just send him what his name was. I had to send him a description of him. And what I said is who Jody Freeman is to, I think everybody in this room is. One is, as everyone's already said, he's the hardest working man that I've ever known. But not only that, doesn't matter who you are, where you live, what your life's like, what you've done, doesn't matter to Jody. If you need him, he's going to be the first one there. He's going to be the last one to leave. And he's still going to walk away feeling like he didn't do enough for you and ask you, what else do you need? That's the man that he is. That's the husband that he's been. That's the father, the grandfather, the brother, the friend, and that he's been. And we love him, and we just, we could not have this night, because if anybody I know deserve a night of celebrating his life, legacy, and achievement, is Jody. So.
Right.
I can pass it around again.